How y'all doing? This is another video where I show before and after painting a miniature like I normally do, and I'm not going to claim anything unique here because this is a miniature I bought before and showed off before in other videos, and it is this. The Dragon King miniature from the Dark Sun line of Dungeons & Dragons, made by Ral Partha in the early 90s. And this is an unopened package, well, mostly unopened. There's a small tear over that from weakness of the plastic over the years, but all the parts are there. Now, this used to be originally released in a box of 20 individual miniatures, Dark Sun People to Land, where this is, you had the Dragon King and many other characters of the world. They were all made of lead in that box set, but not too long after this, they switched to these single packs, and they switched from lead to lead-free pewter. So that's so this one's safe. But even if you had the lead ones, once you paint it and varnish it up, you don't have to worry about any lead poison here. So this is a miniature intact. It has all the parts, the upper and lower parts of the body and the two arms. You got to glue them together, and I'll probably have to file down the base here. It tends to be a bit wobbly when you first get them, to my experience. So, well, I saw this and I just saw it was a great price on eBay, and I figured, okay, let's grab another one and see what we paint it as. I have two of them in green and one painted in a sort of a desertish yellow. So I have an idea of what I want to do, but I won't explain it until after I get it painted. So yeah, let's take a look at it. Alright, let's open it up and see. Alright, so yeah, I mean, there's nothing special that I'm showing off here, but I've actually showed some of my co-workers the videos I do, and they know nothing about miniatures, and they wonder, first thing they ask is, oh, do you make these yourself? Well, I don't make them. You purchase them, you paint them up for tabletop purposes. So, and they're also surprised that you have to put some of them together. I don't know why. But I just found it kind of strange that they would think that. A lot of things you get into hobbies, they requires assembly. So here you are, yeah. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, you'll have to probably take the flashes off and stuff like that, and it's pretty simple to assemble. The upper part goes in the lower part here, and I'll put that together shortly. And you have to put in the arms. Now the joints are not perfect, mind you. So they kind of this little wedge shape here, but it's not too bad once you get it all together here. Yeah. So reverse that here. So it goes like this, and you have the staff, which goes like that. Pretty simple. Just trim off the trimmings, and as I said, you'll have to file this down from the bottom here because there's some flash there that'll make it a little wobbly. Little filing down here at the robes, and so let's put this together and see how it turns out. Okay, here he is, more or less filed down and put together. Turned out just as much as well as the others here. I didn't have to do so much filing on the base like I usually do, because when you get this, there's a slight twist at the base, so you have to file down or carefully twist this just so it remains flush. But I think I got it. Arms turned out okay. Just glue those in. I think the most problem I had with this miniature compared to others is that the middle part where the upper and lower halves of the body put together, I had to do some filing and all that. Apparently it's not the perfect mold, but nothing to complain about. Now, I love this miniature. It's one of my favorites. I usually don't have favorites, but this one ranks right up there with the top of them. It's one of the things it's one of those miniatures that stand out that got me into this hobby in the first place. Is it a perfect one? No. By today's standards, you wouldn't have a base this narrow on something this tall and this material. So you probably make it a little wider, a rounded base. As of making this video, there are some people who are making 3D printed Dark Sun miniatures. Not this one, unfortunately, but they are making brand new miniatures of Dark Sun that you could use, but they're 3D printed, so you have to buy the STL files and print them out. And there's at least one of them is a dragon. Again, not this design, but it has wings and all that, and it could serve just as well for Dark Sun. And they made all sorts of characters with that, people on giant birds, crowloos, and stuff like that. So people who are into Dark Sun should be happy about that. But I'm digressing. So I decided on a couple of colors here, and I was thinking more purple this time, purple and black, but I decided to go a different direction here. So let's see how it turns out. Oh, I'll just put some artwork of Dark Sun for those who don't know what the world looks like. Last time I did it with Brahms art, and who is a definitive look. But there's Tom Bax's art as well. I'll add some of that in. So, all right, so let's see how he paints up. Alright, so I finally got it completed, and here we have it. It turned out pretty much as I wanted it, with the right shade of blue and everything. There we are. Let's see, one Dragon King from Athos. This time I painted it blue. As I said, I was about to paint it, painting it with a dark purple. You could see that in the slideshow, that one weird tube neck creature on the throne. That's Nimine, and also Dragon King. At least one of the early drawings of him. And I was thinking about something close to that skin color, but hard to do because it's not the same model, although it is a Dragon King. But digressing here. So yeah, the blues, I just gave it a nice a light shade of blue. Gave it some blue wash, Dragon Guard, Nightshade from Games Workshop. Then I dry brush some Wolf Gray from Vallejo. So it's nice and simple. I painted stripes on its back by the scales. Wanted to do that with the last one, but I wasn't able to do it with the brushes at the time. Wasn't competent by then. So, and it goes from the top of its neck all the way down to a little bit of spine. They're not perfect, but the scales kind of get in the way, so it's hard to do. So you just gotta do what you can. Let's see, the clothing. Simple flesh colors. No, whatever you do to paint flesh, do the same thing to this. This case, I use a bronze skin, and then I gave it a flesh wash, and which has a reddish tinge, and I went back over it with a bronze skin again, then highlight with a paler flesh. So, it works on certain things outside of skin. You won't even think about it. This base, I decided to make it a lighter coat there, kind of give it a bone white type color from Reaper Minis. It has a different name and all that. Gave it a little brown wash, highlight with white. Now, one thing I noticed when I got this out, I may have said this earlier, is it's not a perfect mold. It didn't fit well. Like the torso didn't fit well when I tried to put it together, as I said. But one thing I noticed on the bottom, You know, you won't see it here, but right about here, I put in some milliput because there was a hole here. You can see by the, I don't know if you can see by the foot, there's like a little bitty pebble. And that's not, you know, that was where the hole was, so I just filled it in because I didn't want to leave it like that. No big deal, you know, these things happen. It's one of those things that, as my grandmother said, when it came to woodworking, anybody looking at it that damn close is looking too damn close. So I'm not looking for perfection. I want something that just looks that, you know, it could potentially look just good on the board, and I think it does. Blue is something, you know, I definitely like how it turned out. It is something that, as you can see in the slideshow, there was an illustration of a bluish type dragon, you know, and that's what direction I wanted to go with, and I think it turned out well. Well, there you all have it. These are all 4 of the same models I have of the Dragon King of Athos, and from earliest one to the latest one, this is the first one I got, and you know, I didn't paint this one. A friend of mine did years ago. This is back in the 90s, and we're just now getting into painting. And, you know, basic base coats, enough to get the job done. You paint the claws and paint the skin. It's enough to get the job done. And we didn't have washes back then or knew about dry brushing. Heck, I think he used enamels on this one instead of acrylics. So, because we only paints that we had access to with model car paint. Later we went to acrylics. But I enjoyed it. You know, I got this as a blister pack back in the 90s. Later I got the Dark Sun box set, People to Land, which comes with 20 or so miniatures with that, and of course it comes with our Dragon King. That's the reason I got it, and so because I got it to paint it on my own after many years of experience. Nothing flashy, nothing to try to win a contest with it. Right, in hindsight, you know, I probably could have done an extra highlight on the clothing, but I don't think people would complain about that. You know, it just looks good on the board. I'm not trying to win contests or anything or rewards. And now I got another one here. I got it, this one, and sometime down the line, just a few years ago, and yeah, I painted it yellow with some blue clothing. Turned out lovely. And of course the new one, which I almost basically is the inverse colors of this one. You know, painted it blue and gave it a more lighter colors. And this is the new one, you know, I just now showed off. So here's all 4 of these, and I think they look impressive just standing there together. I'm putting a slideshow at the end of this, so you can see the before and after this one and all of them together. And yeah, I think this miniature is one of the ones that really struck my interest to want to collect these. It's a beautiful model, and of course this is made by Ral Partha, which had the license for D&D, and ever since Wizards of the Coast got a hold of it, of TSR, they told Ral Partha to destroy all the molds of their current D&D line, so this miniature is not produced anymore. But models like this can still be found on eBay and other stores, and with current technology, you can turn, you know, with scanning technology, you could probably take this model and scan every one of them to STL files, you know, each individual part in addition to as a whole. And I think this is probably a way to bring this model back in mass to everyone, provided that you know, most likely will get away with it for free. Because you could do this with BattleTech, and if you play the old HeroQuest game, there are STL files for free on Thingiverse for, you know, all the HeroQuest miniatures, and even some modified ones with different weapons on the same of the original pieces. So I think if you can take this and just post it up for free, and you probably won't get in trouble. But you know, your moral limits may may vary on that one. With that said, I think this is be a cool model for them to bring back out there one form or another. If you are to modify this, I suggest you change the base a little bit more wider, because it is a bit of a tipping hazard back and forth. You usually don't find miniatures this tall with this narrow of a base, not without a major support. So something more rounder, more supportive. Other than that, I think it's I always love this piece. I don't have much in ways of favorites of things, but this one has always been pretty close to an actual favorite of mine. So there you go, 4 Dragon Kings of Athos from Dark Sun, made originally by Ral Partha. Enjoy the slideshow. Thank you all for watching. You have a nice day.